The Old World, been a bit controversial the last few weeks, I think, with everything going on with the release. But what we're going to talk about is the controversy around legacy PDF factions, which I think has upset quite a lot of people, it's fair to say.
Yeah, well, I guess, is it even controversy? Because it seems quite simple.
Don't come to Robin for any sympathy on anything.
But it's simple in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think first we have to talk a bit about what it is they've done.
Yeah.
And I think why as well, because it's quite an interesting choice to make, to just hive off, 9? No, I don't know how many it is, but hive off a whole bunch of your factions there that you just got rid of. So I don't know, but everyone is going to know what's happened now, but they've basically said they're supporting 9 core factions, and all the rest that were in the world that was, the world of legend, is now not being supported. They're going to give rules.
They haven't said they don't exist. That's the thing. When we read through the book today, I thought there was going to be an element of it never happened, but no. The third paragraph mentions Dark Elves. Yeah,
it is interesting that is the case, and you spotted that pretty quickly.
Which is good, because that would have been the thing that upset people the most if they suddenly retconned
if they just
the world. That would have been what people actually...
Because they've given themselves scope to reintroduce these at some point, but I think that it's an interesting choice to say we're going to write all the rules for them, because the rules for the legacy PDF factions are just as detailed as all the rules for all the other armies that we've seen.
Everyone that has access to them, because some people do have access to them, it seems, but they put some videos out and then they very quickly took them down because it seems that potentially the launch date for the PDF armies maybe changed, or they thought, because there was a couple of videos went out on YouTube of people that had them, quite well respected channels that were giving balanced views and everything, and then they were down within a matter of minutes to whether it was an accident or what. There was I don't think there were any trouble or anything, but from what they're saying, even though they're saying we're not saying this, it's a full. It's exactly the same as what's in the Ravening Hordes of Forces of Fantasy book, but on your screen, not in print.
Yeah, which is very interesting, because that tells me they've spent a long time basically playtesting all these different armies, which implies, this is conjecture, but it implies to me at least that the intention was to have all these armies in there at release.
Yeah, probably, because the scope's changed. It's taken 5 years to get this far.
I think, trying to think about why they've done it, I've seen a lot of stuff where people have said it's because there's been a big fallout between the design studio that did this and the main studio, and they want to keep them off their P&L accounts, profit and loss. I'm not convinced by that. I mean, I think saying that they want to keep the P&L separate, that's just as a preface, I was a chartered accountant in a previous life. Basically, you want to keep them separate because you can see every time someone buys a mini, there's an AOS mini, it goes into that ledger, and they know that it was an AOS product, and they can tell how well AOS is doing as a system. And likewise, Old World, they'll have had they'll have worked out how much money this needs to make and by when, and they want to be able to record their sales so that they know whether it's been a success or not.
But from a personnel point of view, obviously, we don't know who worked on this exactly, because that's how GW does things now. But when you listen to videos of ex-staffers talking on YouTube and interviews and that, I worked on this project and I moved departments and I worked on this. Even people that were very specialist within, say, an art department move between so many things. So it's not like there's a ring fence. I don't think the staff that worked on this book are not ring fenced separate in a shed at the bottom of the thing. A studio has obviously a vision, for want of a better word, and that's the direction they're taking it, with probably people above them saying, okay, but it needs to come into this budget time frame. This is the production capacity we have available to make these in for the next X many years, whatever. You need to make it fit in that.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to say. I feel like it's got to be surely a management decision in terms of working out how successful your project's been, as described earlier, as opposed to the two studios hate one another and they have jealously guarded their property. That just seems a bit unlikely for a massive company like Games.
Yeah, it'd be very odd, because simply even if there was an element of that with people working on it, upper management would be like, well, that doesn't exist in our company. We're all one cohesive team, because that's
how we make money.
That's how upper management thinks things work.
Yeah, because I have heard people saying that they think that they've fallen out, and I've heard tales, and this is again pure conjectures from other YouTubers who have heard tales from other people.
So seventh hand, or whatever.
Yeah, seventh hand, if that, about how the specialist design studio is really great and everyone likes working there, and you go to the main studio and it's rubbish, and that the two don't really get on. I just obviously I don't work there, but I just find it unlikely that even if that is the case,
they make it
they would
like,
ever have the power to influence a project like
it
this.
sounds like one place is all rainbows and that, and the other one they're just being in chains, being whipped. And I don't think that's how it works, is it? But they obviously they had to make, to get the product done, there's had to be decisions made. And I guess you look at 40k, that makes all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why haven't they brought in 10 more races in that? They haven't. They've introduced Votan. When was the last one before that? Tau?
Admech.
Oh, okay, Admech. Yeah, so they've added a couple in the last 10 years.
Yes.
And that's the thing that has all the money and has all the development, or makes all the money, and can have all the resources and can say, right, we can expand it as much as we want. And they haven't. They've still kept it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for whatever reason, they can't obviously release 9 armies at once.
No.
They can't even release enough stuff to fulfill the orders for 2 armies at once. So having all the old Warhammer armies in there is a big ask.
But if you're a PDF legacy army person...
Yeah, I mean, where do you think this leaves them, those people?
I don't know. I guess, obviously, I actually thought the legacy PDFs would be out by now. Not on launch day. I thought they would have come out a couple of days before launch day.
Mm. Yeah, I
find it a little bit odd that there hasn't been someone saying, or someone, an announcement day saying, oh, they're coming.
Yeah, in a week.
In a week.
Yeah.
It was at launch, and then it was changed to shortly after. And then again, this was a vibe from other YouTube channels, but channels that had been sent all the stuff, and was that they thought they'd be able to release videos earlier because they thought the GW would probably be releasing the, and that seemed to be the impression they were under. And then something's changed at some point, and I guess we're back to shortly after launch, which is, I guess, what was said in December. So nothing's changed really, other than it seems more disappointing now. But from an actual army point of view, they're in a... If the rules are the same as what you get in Ravening Hordes and that, which allegedly they are, then I think they're in a reasonably good place. For model availability...
Yeah. They're in a better place.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah. I mean, getting the full range of models might be tricky. For example, Dark Elves, I don't know what's actually sold out on the GW website at the moment. Quite a lot of stuff's not available, but whether they're reboxing things, who knows.
Yeah.
But for Dark Elves, the Blade, your basic core units are available on there. Filling some of the units might be tricky, but then you're in the same position as someone that wants to collect at the moment Beastmen. Actually, no, Beastmen, I guess you can't use that. Yeah, someone that wants to collect High Elves for them, and
you're in the same position as somebody who wants to collect Tomb Kings or Bretonnians.
Well, yeah,
because they haven't released all the stuff for those yet.
No.
So I mean, but actually, as I know what you're saying, and if you want to collect Lizardmen, you've got heaps of stuff you can go get.
Oh yeah, Lizardmen.
Loads of new really good sculpts. If you want to collect Wood Elves, well, jog on, pal. You got to wait for however many months.
You're going to eBay and spending a lot of money. But yeah, Lizardmen obviously have had a full range refresh, and it would just be a case of having to have to be a little bit smart maybe about how you get things on bases so that they rank up. But there's loads of people doing the adapters to use them on round bases.
Yeah.
I think the round bases are 32 mil.
Who was it? I can't remember who it was. I saw somebody relatively well known on the internet that did. It was a YouTuber, and they had a Lumineth Realm Lords army as High Elves.
I guess at that point it's down to what fits the aesthetic, because it'd be very easy once you've got the army book to say, well, clearly that unit represents that. It's not going to be that difficult for someone to figure out if they look at your army, and that's the only important thing, isn't it? Is Well, are they the bowmen or are they the spearmen? It's going to be fairly obvious. And I think, and obviously there's the certain cavalry figures you can use. You just go, well,
this is it. So I would argue
just depends. Depends on what aesthetic you want. Whether you want your high elves to look like traditional high elves or.
Well, so this is the thing. I think it's interesting that arguably you are better off being a legacy PDF faction player because you'll have model availability sooner than someone.
Some of which are like Lisbon, which have had a full range
refresh. They're lovely models. You're gonna have rules which, from the looks of it, seem to be just as good as what everybody else gets. And frankly, with the amount of change you do not expect to see in this game, this is going to be set for a long time.
Yeah. So all they will be
those
missing.
rules will exist for years, if not forever.
All they'll be missing is. No, not even spells, because the spells are in the.
Yeah, they'll have the spells.
They'll be missing.
They won't have the extra lists that you get in the arcane
one or two army lists. Well, not even army lists, army composition layouts.
Yeah.
2 or 3 special characters. For example, the Orc book that's coming, we'll talk about another video, only has 2 special characters in it anyway in the Arcane Journal. It said. So you're only missing two named characters, some army composition lists, and if you're playing narratively, you can just make your own stuff up anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're missing a few individual magic items, and a historic scenario, and some pretty pictures.
Yeah, all of which are very nice to have.
Oh, the Arcane Journal books are nice to have,
crucial.
but they're not going to ruin your game by not having them.
No.
And it doesn't look, from the hour-long flick-through we've had of the books, it doesn't look like the Arcane Journals are a pay-to-win thing where suddenly, if you buy them, you get...
That was the big fear, wasn't it? People were worried
have you got the super killer combo special weapon?
People were worried that you'd have that codex creep that they have.
That doesn't appear to be a thing. So I think if you're a PDF army,
I think you're set for years.
Depending on your model, depending on the model range, again, using Dark Elves as an example, getting hold of some things might be tricky, and who knows what will happen when, because the rumours has it that the Daughters of Cain side of things was getting a big refresh with AOS 4.
Yeah.
And the same with Skaven. But again, potentially you're going to have lovely new models. How they're boxed might mean that collecting them potentially is maybe a little bit more expensive, but no more expensive than someone at the moment who's trying to buy high elves on eBay. Believe me. And you're going to be missing that Arcane Journal, and that's all you're going to be missing out on, I think.
Yeah.
I can't see it being a problem. And as for the tournament thing, probably 1% of people play tournaments, and most of those aren't playing GW. So that's just irrelevant, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know what the percentage of people playing tournaments is. I suspect it's higher than 1%, but not massively.
Yeah,
so
no,
actually.
I guess Fantasy was quite a popular... tournaments.
I think
to have tournaments around because it's...
Yeah, but I think what is right is to say that most people do not play tournaments. Within the tournament scene, most tournaments are not Games Workshop tournaments. And therefore it's a niche within a niche.
Yeah, that won't allow...
That will not allow these legacy PDF armies. Everything I've seen from tournament organisers for non-Games Workshop...
Oh yeah, loads have been coming out on
Facebook
saying, yeah, we'll let you in. Yeah.
So I think actually the conclusion really for you legacy PDF players is try not to worry. I know it's a bit rubbish and you probably feel abandoned, but I think you're in a good spot. And actually it looks like, given the stuff that's in here mentions your armies, they're not just airbrushed out of the narrative. It would be very easy for Games Workshop at a future point to say, this game's done really well, let's do an expansion where we have a Dark Elf invasion. So we'll do a Dark Elf army enters the Old World.
That's a thing they do, and it will definitely be down the line. It's not going to be
years and years and years down the line.
And I think it would be a drip feed of let's bring in one faction or a pair of factions at a time. It's not going to be.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I'm not saying you should sit there waiting for that day.
No, because
there's no guarantee it's going to happen. It's just to say that I think it could. It's been set up to make it so that it wouldn't be the hardest thing to do, and but even without that and without the promise of that, I think that the PDF factions are in a decent spot, and actually the offering they have is better than the offering a lot of people that have the core factions have got.
Yeah, I mean, if I feel inspired by something, I might do small, maybe 1250 because that matches then the size of the starter boxes. Yeah, I might do a 1250 Lisbon army or something like that. With knowing that I'll have to be buying the newer models, and they'll come in maybe slightly less in a box over, but do it as a slow project. I think if it's something that fits in narratively, something we want to do.
So here's a question. You said that the Dark Elves are strongly rumoured to be coming into AOS, right? So you can look at the list of the stuff that is not in Old World. It's either had a range refresh,
or it's
in AOS, that was going to.
Because the rumours were Skaven and Malekith's kin or whatever, however they're phrasing it.
So my question is, given that it wasn't an actual proper army and a series of White Dwarf
Chaos
articles...
Dwarves are not getting a range refresh. They never even had an army book, they had a series of articles.
I know, but let me dream. Let me dream.
I like Chaos Dwarves, and it'd be quite cool because you could use the... Is it Gloomspike Gits? The slightly taller looking, more slender ones.
The sort of hobgoblins.
As the hobgoblins. I guess we'll see how good the PDF is. To see whether it's worth hunting them down. So
I mean, I think I would personally love to see Chaos Dwarfs in it. I think what I'm hoping for is, when I say in it, I mean Age of Sigmar, because I'm hoping that they'll bring minis out that I can use for this.
Yeah. Without
spending £1,000 on a 20 mil tall figure or what have you.
Yeah.
But actually, we can, all as Chaos Dwarf fans, we can take solace in the fact that there will be some Chaos Dwarfs in the Old World. Because the Hellcannon crew for Chaos, they are Chaos Dwarfs.
That's true.
They just don't have the incredible hats.
I guess if you're a new person to the thing, to the system, to the world, whatever, there's 9 armies here eventually that will be fully supported.
Yes.
There's 2 starter boxes. Yeah, okay, you probably can't go and buy one today, but there's 2 starter boxes. They've shown what's coming next with its own thing. There's armies there to pick.
Yeah.
If you're new to the world of Warhammer, it'd be very strange to be a bit salty about not being able to play Chaos Dwarfs if you're new to it.
Yeah. Talking of niches in niches, Chaos Dwarves are like the tiny chink of light at the corner of a niche within a niche within a niche.
Yeah, I think it's not a problem that most people are going to have.
No.
So I think it'd be fine.
Yeah. So the conclusion is, Legacy PDF factions are absolutely fine. And if Chaos Dwarfs don't come back, there's only me and like 3 other people that care. So with that, cheers. We'll see you later.